What it do, KTTV? This is KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of the Daily K Podcast. And on today's episode, we have educator and founder of Bryan Carroll and Associates, Mr. Bryan Carroll. Bryan is going to talk to the KTTV audience about his time as an educator, his CURE program, which stands for Communities Under Reconstruction Through Education, his book series, Super Carroll, and more. Stay tuned.
How you doing?
All right. I want to thank you for taking some time out, stopping by and talking to us today. Like I said, I've seen everything that's going on online and the business and what you're doing for the community. And so, man, it's on the right that you come by and bless us with some knowledge today. And so I guess we'll get right into the interview. Give us a little bit of background about yourself, man, and how did you get down to Houston from Maryland?
Well, first, I'd like to say it's an honor, so I appreciate the opportunity. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Went to college, played football at Grambling and Louisiana Tech. Finished off at Louisiana Tech. And after my college career, I broke my ankle and missed my pro day, messing around being foolish. And I was looking for an opportunity to really continue my football career. And so I was training, rehabbing, and I was making phone calls, going to these on that rat race, going to these open workouts and stuff like that. And I got a call from a team. They said, hey, you got 2 days to make the team. You know, so I packed my bags, got a buddy pass, got a one-way ticket, and here it is, 10, 11 years, I'm still in Houston. So obviously I did what I had to do to make the team.
Welcome, man. Welcome. Yes. So now, you know I can't let you slide by. Being from Shreveport, Louisiana, so many people from Shreveport on the podcast audience. How was that time at Grambling? Like, how long did you stay down at Grambling and at La Tech in Ruston? So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I ended up at Grambling. Coming out of school, you know, I was drafted out of high school in baseball. I was one of the top defensive backs in the state in football. But I went to a school in Baltimore, Randallstown High School. Shout out to Randallstown, great school. But we had the lowest SAT scores in the city. So we had a lot of great athletes, but we didn't have a focal point on player development and understanding what it takes to get to the next level. And I fell into that gap, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have what I needed. And I kept taking the test. And one day I got serious, actually. The wide receiver coach of Virginia Tech at the time, Coach Ball, seen me in class sleep, called me out in the hallway, poked me in the chest like, man, you ain't serious. You're trying to be like everybody else. Yeah. So I did. After that day, I made up my mind. That was my aha moment. I made up my mind every day I'm staying at school and study. I brought my score up over 1,000, but the NCAA was like, your score went up so much, you must have cheated. Coincidence, star athlete score goes up 300-400 points. He must have cheated. So at this point, it's past signing day. You know, a lot of the schools had dropped off. You know, my only option at this point that was still showing interest was NC State and South Carolina, because this was after the guy with Virginia Tech, it was after signing day and stuff. So I didn't really know where I was going to go. And I didn't know about a thing called a Prop 48, where basically the school really wants you, but you didn't qualify. So you go, you spend a year, you get your 24 hours, and you become a freshman. Then you're eligible that next year. So I ain't going to lie, at Grambling, some of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life were in that prop class. We had about 49 or 50 guys in that prop class. The problem was they didn't have the player development and the essentials to keep the guys. Because think about it, they were irresponsible and not qualified coming out of high school. Now they got us in college. And you know, in college they got everything you need to destroy yourself. You know what I'm saying? And we were getting up at 4:45 a.m. Never missed a workout. Gained a great reputation. But only three props actually made it onto the field. And that's how I ended up at Grambling. Like I didn't have no other option. But it was divine, because everything I tried to do didn't work out. And the pieces fell to the point where I ended up in Louisiana.
Yes. Okay. And then after that, like you say, you got down to H-Town.
Yeah.
And so, how from H-Town, you was doing group homework though in Baltimore.
Yep.
So how did that go for group homework and then teaching special education here in Houston?
Yep.
So how did those two places prepare you for embarking on the Bryan Carroll and Associates mission that you're doing?
I think that was just a divine plan that I had no idea about, and I was just walking on my path. So I really didn't have any identity outside of sports. I'm thinking I'm a football player. I'm a baseball. I'm an athlete. I'm going to the league. You know what I'm saying? It was in plain sight. It seemed like something that was very attainable. But the way the chips may fell between politics, injuries, or whatever the case may be, things didn't work out that way. So, you got to work. I done graduated from college. Now I'm like, I got to work. I'm trying to play ball, but I got to maintain, got to pay the bills. So I'm finding things of my interest. I know that I've always had a love and a desire to work with kids, especially young men. You know what I'm saying? And that was just something, somebody knew me, and it was like, hey, you get a job at a group home. So I'm up there. Yeah, I went to college and graduated, and I'm at a group home making $8.25 an hour.
Yes, sir. Humility is fine.
So I'm like, I did not go to college to make that, but my goal is like I'm still training. I hadn't even moved to Houston yet, so I'm like, I'm gonna make this thing happen. But it was so many lessons that I learned about trauma, about humility, about relationships, about just this. It's a tale of two cities in every city. You got the high-ranking people, you got the people living in the nice houses that's experiencing the great fruits of life, and you got the people living in the slums. The people that's growing up with mommy and daddy in jail, the people that's been molested and raped and beaten and battered. You know what I'm saying? So I got to experience everything that comes with working with somebody who's totally broken and experience the dark side of life. And I had to be able to motivate them, empower, encourage, and love on them. So it taught me more. It really taught me more about myself.
Yes. Okay. And so then going from those group homes, and that's kind of what set you up for the behavior work with the special needs.
Yep, I fell into that. I was at a school. It was a rough middle school, and they couldn't keep nobody in a self-contained behavior class. So the guy that was in there, I got a promotion to behavior specialist, but they made me sub in that class a couple times when he was out or whatever, and the kids would like try to attack the teachers' aides. Like, I mean, you had to be labeled emotionally disturbed or bipolar to even be in the class. So they were very aggressive, and I protected them. Those two women were old enough to be my mama, and I protected them, and I felt an obligation to create a safe place within the classroom, and that's actually where I got the name Super Carroll from. Because I would come in every morning, we listen to Eric Thomas videos, I would pour out my heart, motivating and loving on the kids, and every day I came, she was like, that's it, that's Super Carroll, he's here to love on the kids. And I didn't really start calling myself Super Carroll until years later. Yes. But she planted that seed. Yeah. And when that guy got that, when he got that other position, I absolutely was opposed to it. I was like, man, I'm gonna quit. But I was just talking because I still had bills to pay. I wasn't really gonna quit. I was just playing. But so I get up in that class and I said, it's gonna be them and me. The first week or two was so hard. I mean, them kids was cussing, stealing, everything you can imagine going on, straight chaos. I said, it's gonna be them and me, and it ain't gonna never be me. So I leveled up. Took me about three weeks to a month. Got that class in line, and that's how I built the reputation.
Yeah, and just took it from there.
Yeah, it just started flowing.
Oh man. Okay, so now we done set the stage. We got the background information. So fast forward to Bryan Carroll and Associates. Mm-hmm. So now talk to us about the mission and the vision as we hear where you started at. Talk to us about that.
Well, God spoke to me one day and said, you're going to help change the face of education. And I'm looking like, how? I graduated high school with a 2.2, but he qualifies the unqualified. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So we sit up there thinking in our finite minds of how something can go, when in actuality, you are enough. You matter. And I had to realize that about myself. But guess what? My mission is to tell kids that don't believe they matter, that they matter. So I had to establish in my mind and believe in myself. Yeah. So I started to learn my learning style. Like I said, we learn so much more about ourselves working with kids in these teachable moments that we always looking like we out there teaching them, when in reality, they're teaching us. So, I'm going to these different professional developments. I'm like, man, these things are so boring. I've probably been to, I've really only been to 3 professional developments that I really like. You know what I'm saying? I hated them, and I didn't understand the value of one. I seen it, one that was good. And one day I'm using the bathroom by the office for one at this high school I was working at, and I heard the secretary fussing about the budget and how much they paid the guy. And I overheard, and I said, what? So this guy, who wouldn't last 5 minutes in my demographic, in my classroom, got paid this much for a boring hour thing. I said, man, I can do that. And then I remembered I used to listen to Les Brown all the time when he had that aha moment, said, I can do that. Yeah. And I had that moment. I said, I could do that. So I figured out So I said, so they write curriculum. Then I looked at the curriculums and stuff they do. I said, all everybody do is regurgitate the same words in different ways.
I can do that.
So I started talking about my experiences.
Yes, sir.
Then I got an opportunity to speak at a conference. And once again, I didn't think I was qualified. I was so nervous. And afterwards, I'm seeing these superintendents and principals, everybody looking at me, and they really believed in what I said. And another time, God took me aside and said, listen, you are enough. I have given you what you need.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I built that momentum. And then it was just, take off. So I was like, I'm going to create my own consultant service, consultant company, and we're going to hit the ground running because I know that I have a message for the kids, for the people. And what are people? It's more teachers struggling with anxiety than kids. Like about 90% of these teachers got anxiety coming in there dealing with these kids. And I said, man, I can teach them ways how to deal with that. I found my stride. You know what I'm saying? I found something I was passionate about. I love doing it. Don't even feel like work. So that's kind of how I even got the idea to start doing consulting.
Okay. And it's been on ever since.
Yeah, it's been on the popping.
Man, and so then as I look at the site, I see the things that you all are doing for the community and the mission of what you're doing is awesome and very needed. So I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the things on the website, and the first one being was the CURE program.
Okay.
And so basically talk to us about, I guess, the acronym for that.
Okay.
And then just the program itself, man.
So the CURE stands for Community Under Reconstruction Through Education. I feel like so many times we marginalize ourselves. I thought I didn't like school because my experiences in school were bad. So it was just a teacher that most of the time didn't look like me, didn't understand me, was not culturally understanding, and they wanted you to just sit down and shut up. Well, I was more active. See, in my class, I had a self-contained behavior class in elementary school with 12 kids, 10 boys and 2 girls. I walked around with a football in my hand. I kept it interesting. I had kids that didn't want to do nothing, fighting or getting mad because they didn't get called on. That's a good problem to have. You know what I'm saying? They want to participate too much. You know what I'm saying? So I started thinking about what education really means. How do we really define it? Education is infinite. It's always around us. So I wanted to get the community, they need to be under reconstruction. You know what I'm saying? We got to get a foundation and build up from that. But we have to do that through educating people, through educate them about mental health, educating them about the guys that want to play sports, about athletics, about how to develop yourself, about, nutrition, everything. You want to go into a trade, you want to go into a career focus, whatever it is, we want to educate you about that. Yes. So that's basically what that is. And it's just so broad about, how many partners and people that I have in it, the experiences that I have that we can educate people on to create a better, more functional human being. Because that's the key. We need functional human beings that add to society, not just getting locked up and wilding out here because they ain't got no purpose.
So now, that made perfect sense of the name, then the mission of it, because education is the way that I believe you change everything.
It's the great equalizer.
Yes, sir.
On anything, on any level.
Yeah. My last podcast before I went on break for the holidays, I had a guy who was running for the Texas House of Representatives, Mr. Lawrence Allen.
Okay.
And so one of the biggest things that he talked about was how education, he believes, takes everything from the ground up. And it's not necessarily education inside of the classroom, but education in the community, education about each other. And so, man, that's perfect.
Even if, think about it, we want to stop the gentrification process, or we want to be able to, where we can control the narrative and glorify our neighborhoods, we got to educate ourselves about it. So I just think that's a really important thing. And a lot of times, about the Bible says people die for lack of knowledge. And it's not always talking about a physical death. It's talking about a lack of understanding, so you kill yourself and you kill your opportunities, and also where somebody else can come in there and take what you got, what you want, because they studied and they're prepared.
That's it, man. Right now, every day, somebody's doing that right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, for real.
So, man, how do you participate in the CURE program, and how do you help out a volunteer if you want to be a part of it?
Okay, so on the website, Bryan Carroll and Associates.com, there's an opportunity to contact The opportunity to contact me, you can hit me up on Facebook. My name Bryan Carroll, BryanCarroll. Send me a message there. On Instagram, Super Carroll, SuperCarroll. We got some events coming up. We're gonna be doing a literacy book tour. Reading the books. So we're gonna need people as far as helping out regarding a lot of different things with that. Then we're gonna be doing different community symposiums regarding mental health, athletics. Just a bunch of different things. So reach out to me if you want to support, if you want to volunteer, just let me know. We always got room.
And speaking of athletics, today I did a podcast with Tyrone Smith from the 49ers. And so his is about athletics, but it's more about just building up and talking about what he went through, and connecting to the guys through the athletics.
Yeah.
But I see with the athletic intelligence, it's working with both parents and students.
Yes.
And so give us a little bit of background and talk about that.
Well, I look at it like this. You got a 99% chance of not making it to the league.
Yes, sir.
You got more than a 99%. You got less than a 1% chance. So it really ain't always about how fast you are, how quick you are. I could ball. When I was teaching, they used to have a athletic training facility, CES, off of 288. Back when I was working at HI, I took off and went up there and just trained, blended in. Everybody thought I played for the league. You know what I'm saying? I told them, no, I'm a teacher. I'm taking off. I'm just trying to get on. And I did so well in my workout, I got one of the trainers to call some agents for me.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So it ain't even necessarily about making it. You know what I'm saying? So we need to leverage our power. In 2016, the NCAA's top 5 conferences made over $6 billion in revenue. And we ain't see none of it. The athletes or the parents. They ain't see none of it. So athletic intelligence is about player development, learn how to leverage your power. You know what I'm saying? You got 2% of high school football players going D1. Another 2% going D2. Only 6% go to play college football. That's not because of talent. That's because we don't know how to leverage our power. You a 5-star athlete with 50,000, 100,000 followers, and you ain't making no money off of it? You thinking you got to choose between being an athlete and being smart when you can be an engineer and an athlete simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? Also picking your schools. Let's think about it. What schools academically are superior? The Penn States, the Stanfords, the Rice. You know what I'm saying? Like let's look at those type of schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be more strategic and intentional about what we're doing, being athletes. Because if you don't build your mind and you only build your body, you're just a slave. When I was playing ball in college, they had certain majors that they had teachers in that was going to pass you. I hear guys say, I want to major in business. I want to major in this. No, we're going to put you in this major. And because they didn't have no identity, they didn't have no plan, and they didn't know who they are and whose they are, they went along with that. And then you sit up there, you got 5 years to play for, counting the red shirt year, and you leave school with 6 or 7 credits. I used to play ball in New Orleans and I had a guy that was a legend in New Orleans, a legend at LSU. Played 5-6 years in the NFL and played some years in the CFL. And he was working nights at a strip club and playing arena ball during the day to pay the bills. When you've made over $3-4 million. You know what I'm saying? We don't have player development. So a good friend of mine, Ben Tate, that was 2nd round draft pick for the Texans, All-American running back in college. I said, man, what was one of the biggest needs that was needed? He said, player development. I said, well, what happened? He said, the problem is they don't tell me that until I'm at the rookie symposium and I'm already a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get them early. Everybody's indoctrinating with the wrong stuff. How about we start indoctrinating with the right stuff? So we're creating intelligent athletes. Because if you're business minded and you're thinking about real estate and you're thinking about healthcare and you're thinking about stores that are needed within the communities and you got the money, you're solving problems. League minimum is what, 480? You know what I'm saying? That's great money. And that's just the bottom of the barrel. Most guys out there making millions. So imagine what we can be doing in our communities. Creating our own tables instead of asking for a seat at the table. You know what I'm saying? We got to control the narrative, but we're getting bullied into stuff and we don't understanding and lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom. So now we ain't got no power. We ain't got no resources. You telling me you done went to Alabama and you might have got a degree. I know a dude that went to A&M, got a degree, ain't got nothing to show for it. They gave him that. They picked some agricultural thing for him to do. Played his 4 years and he ain't got to the league, so now what? You know, we got to start. I ain't trying to discourage you from trying to go to the league. I want you to go to the league.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, while you're on campus year round, because when you play D1 ball, you got to be there year round. You don't be in the summer, you lose your spot.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Stop having so much idle time just playing video games and working out in the summer. And when these boosters come to offer you money or a car or something like that, no, say, nah, give me an internship. Because guess what? That booster is probably making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or millions. And guess what? He can't run a jump. He got 2 left feet. You know what I'm saying? But he's able to leverage his ability to get money. So you use your power to draw and attract that. Everybody want to come get your autograph. They want to hang out with you. All right, give me an internship. You know what I'm saying? We got to smarten up.
Man, just that thought right there is powerful, man.
Yeah.
Because you know, everybody, we want the money.
Yeah.
But that's like saying a job is what gets you out of poverty.
Yeah.
Really, it's your education.
It's your education.
That's going to get you out of poverty.
Yeah.
So get that internship, learn something that's going to carry you versus getting that $100, $200, $500 by this trip.
And it's a very, this is something that people don't talk enough about with athletes. You finish playing college ball, you done did your pro day, you got these aspirations to go to the league, and every door is shut. And you know you can play because you playing against guys. You played against guys that made it. You know guys that made it, and you can't seem to break that threshold. And they're basing it based off of 40 or Eldro or a connection that you got. You know what I'm saying? Or you won't get nobody to respond to your film, not because you're not good enough. It's just because it just ain't enough space for everybody. But guess what? You still got bills. And now everything is being challenged on who you are and what you represent or who you've known yourself as all your life. And now it's coming to an end. How many athletes know how to deal with that?
Athletic intelligence. I can dig it. Say, man, I'm not even an athlete, man. I'm fired up. Man. Find somebody, man. What you do? Okay, man. And so as we move forward to the services for the Bryan Carroll and Associates, we bring ourselves to the Super Carroll, man. So you gave us a little bit of background about the story of how it came. And so maybe you have to explain a little bit deeper, man. How did this come to light? So what made you say, okay, this is the name, and we know where you got the name from. How did you say, I'm going to take it further? What made you say?
Well, first, I want to encourage and inspire anybody that don't believe in themselves to just jump. You just got to take a step because I've never experienced success in school. I'm about to enter a master's program to become a therapist. Anytime my mama see anybody used to be my teacher, elementary, middle, high school, they'd be like, what, Bryan Carroll? They can't believe it because I was a fool. You know what I'm saying? I was a fool back then. But, man, first you got to just jump and believe in yourself. And I guess the more I called myself Super Carroll, the more I started to take hold and be empowered. I wanted something that belonged to me. I always took so much pride in being an athlete, but I didn't take no pride in whether I could read or do a math problem or something like that. And I seen so many kids falling by the wayside because they had no self-worth when it came to education, which was going to be the thing that would be the great equalizer to get them to take their life to the next level. So I said, man, I got to inspire them. They don't want to read. They don't want to listen. They don't want to behave. But guess what? I look at this thick red special ed folder when they come to my class. I never read the folders at first. I get my own personal experience. Then I go back and look. And 100 times out of 100, they did not do what was in that red folder with me. They didn't. And if they tried to, I shut it down. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't even really, you know what I'm saying? So I said, I got to inspire the kids to read, and I got to inspire them to behave, get them something fun, something engaging. So I said, man, I'm going to talk about my life experiences, what I went through as a child, and I'm going to put into these stories. And, you know, it's crazy because I've never even been called a good writer by any teacher. I write these books in no more than 5 to 10 minutes. I get into my mode. I feel like God speaks to me, and I just bam, bam. And my notes in my phone, that's how I write the books.
Okay.
So I've written about 8 of them.
Yes.
I just haven't brought all of them out, but I just wanted them to believe in something. I wanted them to read, and I wanted them to see somebody that looked like them. I also put kids of every race on here, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted them to see somebody that looks like them. Like, man, look, you can do now. I put Super Carroll all on it. I told them to put the super in front of their name.
So talk to us about this one per se, man.
Super sharing. Most adults have issues with sharing, but kids really have issues. Like my daughter's 2 years old. She might not be playing with the toy, but if somebody pick it up, she gonna go over there and say, mine, mine. And I think a lot of times in life, we're selfish with our emotions, with our time, with our actions and stuff like that. We don't want to share. And I said, man, I got to get the kids understanding the importance of collaborative efforts. But if you don't want to share and you want to be selfish, you can't understand that. So I told them it's about not recycling your pain. So there was an instance where I didn't have anything and they were mean to me, and then I got something and then they wanted to come play with me and then I was mean to them. So what that does is create a repetitive cycle of, ain't nobody gonna get nothing right. So I said, nothing changes if nothing changes. And only thing that puts out fire is water. Fire don't put out fire. So I basically created a lesson to help them understand how to pour water on a fire. And that's something that can go a long, long way. And the story is relevant to the kids. And, half the time we want revenge. But then we're able to walk through the lesson. And they get to see by the end of the lesson, I don't need revenge. I don't need to be mean to them because they were mean to me. Matter of fact, if I be nice to them and I put some water on that fire, it cools everything off. And once the smoke settles, we all good. So that's basically how it was. And I put some work pages in the back that follow through with the different learning styles, because we both know when you create a lesson plan, the biggest mistake that a lot of teachers do, they think because I created a lesson plan, I delivered something that you understood it. No, I need to have some probing questions. I need to have something that come forth to let me know that you really understand what I'm talking about. And that's why I put the work pages in the back.
Yeah, to kind of hammer it down. Mm-hmm. And so we got the one about sharing. And I know you say you got some, so tell us some of the ones that are coming out.
Well, the new one that's about to drop, I feel like a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Bars. The new one that's about to drop later on this month, or probably the first week of February, is Super Strong. And it's basically based on the 14 core values that help you to be super. The person is being strong. Little Super Carroll is being strong by showing kindness, by showing humility, by sacrificing, by doing the right thing when somebody wronged him. So I walk through situations in that book where Little Super Carroll was just being strong and showing them that's what real strength is. Not being macho. And it's easy to get mad and punch somebody because guess what? That's what your emotions wanted to do. But to stop yourself from doing that, you know what I'm saying? That's the tough thing.
Yeah.
So
teaching your mind to be stronger than your emotions,
mm-hmm.
Because they will take you there. So when you highlight that, something that kids need, like I said, and we talked about this as we were preparing for the interview, but having kids to be able to get that information, man, and the biggest thing is you creating workbooks and books, and sponsors need those things, man, for curriculum, so that they can really hammer down certain areas for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I've been doing the boys club in my district for some years, and so when we have turnover with new sponsors, then it's all, what do I use for the kids, or what are some of the things? And so as you come in, one of our lessons now is sharing. Mm-hmm. And so then we're able to talk about that, we're able to put that in action, and then hopefully they are able to create those extension activities. So then when you come back and you talk about being strong, I got 14 to 30 boys who want to be strong, but let's talk about how to be strong in the right way. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just being brute, but it's also being strong mentally.
Yeah.
So to come with those things, man, to give sponsors and people who are working with these kids tools, say, man, it's gonna be awesome. I see it jumping. So as we move into those, you've got the merch.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah. So usually I like to have Super Carroll in plain clothes because all superheroes don't wear capes. Yeah. And I want them to know you ain't flying around beating up bad guys like on a cartoon. Yes. But you're doing things like restraining yourself when you get upset, being patient, being kind, saying the right thing, not talking about people behind their back, showing integrity when it comes to your work. That would make you super. But shout out to the Black Panther movie. I had to represent, you know what I'm saying? So so I put Super Carroll on the Black Panther, but I put the SC for Super Carroll right here. And I just want the kids to take pride. Like my students, when they said, Mr. Carroll, is that you? And I said, yeah, that's me. Yeah. And they said, wow, I want one. I said, well, how about you? You can do one of you. Because we so quick to rock Nike. Yeah. We so quick to rock Adidas and all these different brands, but do you feel that validation and your chest pumped out when you put on something, some Gucci or something like that? And this ain't no shade to Nike, Gucci, or nobody, but why your chest don't get pumped out when you wear yourself?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So me, you know, somebody could hate, say whatever they want. Man, my chest pumped out because I'm wearing my Super Carroll shirt. And guess what? I got my daughter a baby Super Carroll shirt, and she already know what it is when I say, what's your name? Baby Super Carroll. You know what I'm saying? That's that sense of pride that's gonna protect you from being a crash dummy for some people that's up there trying to do wrong. Or you know what I'm saying? Because you got self-worth. You know that, you know, I'm valued, and I'm not about to go steal. I'm not about to go break in somebody's house. I'm not about to go skip class. No, because I value my education. I value myself. So, you know, I ain't about to rock with all that negativity.
Now, as we close it up, first off, as we support our young men, and you going out to talk to them, what are some of the words of wisdom that you impart in them when you leaving? So, you know, just words of wisdom for the kids.
I would say, man, one of the most important things is the identity. At a young age, I didn't know who I was, but I know who I wasn't. Even if you don't know who you are and you ain't just super intentional about your day, I need you to know who you're not. You're not a thief. You're not a womanizer. You're not evil. You're not a savage. These are things that you're not. You know what I'm saying? So now we've established what you aren't. You know what I'm saying? And we can work on building who you are and tearing down those other bad archetypes. So I want the kids to establish an identity. You're more than an athlete. You know what I'm saying? You're more than whatever neighborhood you came from. You know what I'm saying? Identity, knowing who you are, and once you know who you are and you have an idea, you can be very intentional. Like at the beginning of the training camp, we got our itinerary. We're very intentional from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. We're very intentional about everything. Let's be intentional about our life. Because if I go to school and I know that this is what I need to do, this is my goal, and this is what I need to do to get there, I'm intentional about everything. I know I can't go to the right because if I got 48 seconds to get to class over there. So I got to be intentional about who I talk to and what I do. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Making things more practical and intentional. So identity, you know what I'm saying? Being focused on what you need to do. Being intentional about your days. And really being honest about your struggles. Because as a man, it took me a long time to forgive my father. And to realize that I even had father issues. And a lot of my character flaws was because of the things that I hadn't taken care of. And then having a daughter, you know, you look at the baby girl eyes and you just weep. You know what I'm saying? So I got to become everything that I need to be the best representation for her. So had me being emotional. It's okay to cry. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to express your feelings. It's okay to, you know, get help. Find mentors, find somebody to learn from. If you want to play ball, you got to get a trainer. You know what I'm saying? The best player, Michael Jordan had a trainer. LeBron James got a trainer. You know what I'm saying? Why you can't get a trainer? You know what I'm saying? You can't even shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, go get you a trainer too. You know what I'm saying? Get you a trainer for, if you're going to train your body, train your mind, train your emotions. You know, because to be honest with you, a lot of these people that's thugs, that's out here in jail, serving life sentences, they didn't have no emotional training. So when they got mad, they pulled that trigger.
Right off how they feel.
Right off how they feel. And then they on first 48 with their head down, regretting it and everything. But, you know, we got to get some emotional intelligence. You know, so that's, you know, identity, being intentional about your day, and getting emotional intelligence. You know, getting help, getting a mentor. Those are some things that I would really stress.
Yes, and so like, because the reason I said that was, like I said, man, I'm always looking for nice excerpts to play for my boys, man. And something like what you just told them goes right in line with everything that we talk about. You know, so that'll be, y'all check this out. Lastly, we talked about taking the leap. Any words of wisdom for teachers who want to take that leap but saying, I can't do it?
What I'm going to say is allow life to teach you. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't talk at the kids, talk to the kids. You know, remember that they're a human being. You know what I'm saying? We always assume that they're supposed to just give us respect just because we the teacher and we adult. Granted, in a perfect world, that's how it should be. But we say the test is in a perfect world, but the world ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? So you walk in that class, be humble. You know, be consistent, be resilient, but also embrace what's coming, and then from there learn those lessons and let it build you. If you ready to get out the classroom, figure out how. Me, I honestly, they've been telling me, people tell me they want me to become a principal. I don't want to become no principal. And shout out to the principals. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I know that ain't my path. So know what your path is, so you don't end up going to school wasting money on something that ain't your path, or getting into something and hitting those brick walls because you out of season and you out of your lane. Know your lane. Figure out what it is you're good at, what you love, what your passion, what you can't, what don't feel like work. Me, speaking life into people, consulting, working with the young men, teaching teachers, how, you know what I'm saying? So then once you get that, you can jump, because now you can be more intentional and strategic about what you're doing. And you just gotta keep taking steps in the direction of it, and everything's gonna line up, because you're gonna attract that type of energy. I've been saying this for a while. It's been over a year. But now, I just had a meeting today that blessed my life. But, it didn't happen overnight. And align yourself with people that's doing it so you can learn. Find out what the other ones that tried to do it successfully and unsuccessfully did. Ask questions. Don't be scared to put yourself out there. Like me, I ask questions. I don't care if somebody think I'm dumb. I know I ain't dumb. You call me dumb, okay. I know I ain't dumb. You know what I'm saying? So take that leap of faith, but be intentional about what you're doing and figure out exactly what you want to do. Don't just do it emotionally because you don't feel like teaching or you don't feel like coming to work. Do it because, because when you do things emotionally and out of desperation, it never goes well. You know what I'm saying? But be more strategic and intentional about how you're doing it, but continue to take those steps forward and educate yourself. We're talking about education. Educate yourself on what it is you want to do and how people got to that point.
Yep. All right. So now, as we know, people will remember most of the first thing and the last things that you said. So hit them with that contact information one more time, Mr. Carroll.
Okay. So Super Carroll on Instagram, SuperCarroll. I did just create a Twitter page, which is Super Carroll 1. Facebook is Bryan Carroll, BryanCarroll. LinkedIn is Bryan Carroll as well. And on the website, it has my contact information if you want to set up like a meeting or something like that. So, hey, I'm on the ground. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm about that action. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to work. Hit me up if you're serious.
I appreciate you once again for stopping by talking to us today, man. So much awesome stuff. I'm glad I'm right here before you be too busy, man. You ain't got time for me because I know it's coming soon, man. There's too much good stuff out here, man. Once again, everybody, we got the series coming. This is number 1, super sharing of the Super Carroll book series.
One other thing.
Oh, yes, sir.
If there's anybody that's just starting out as like an illustrator, because we're working on doing a anti-bullying cartoon, hit me up. I would love to collaborate with you because we want to bring this to life, not just in the books, but we want to make this a mini series of cartoons surrounded by mental health, special education, and anti-bullying. So hit me up if that's something that you do.
Yes. All right. I think that'll do it for us. This is KT for KTTV signing out.